What's going on? Welcome back to another episode of Just a Bet Outside. This is our NFL Week 2 recap, and man, do we have a lot to talk about. We had some wild comebacks and just crazy games all over. So, in this video, we're gonna talk about maybe some teams. Is it time to panic? Talk about also what we've learned from the first 2 weeks, and go over what our bets looked like last week. So, before we do that, got a little housekeeping. We're now on Spotify, Amazon Podcast, and Apple Podcasts. So make sure to go check those out and hit follow. And then also make sure you follow us on Instagram and Twitter. We went 5-1 on bets for Thursday and Monday night games on those two, so they saved us. Our video picks did not do that great. We went overall 6-6, I believe it was, for the week. And it was down 0.65 units, so not too bad for the year. We're still under a unit on down. So we'll pick it up. We'll get there. So that's not too bad. That's just one win away, and we're in the positive. So the video picks were not good. Like I said, the Instagram and Twitter gotta follow if you want some winners. So that's where we're at. Ryan, how we doing? I know you're struggling from one of your bets last week, as a lot of people are.
Yeah, that was a rough weekend. The Ravens game, that one hurt really bad. It put me in a bad mood for the Seahawks game. I just didn't even want to watch football after that bet. I had it wrapped up solid. You texted me in the third quarter and said it's over, and then the
I
Dolphins are
think
coming
it's my
back.
fault. Yeah, it's my fault.
You
Doing
jinxed
that.
me. But with that, we had a personal bet, I'm pretty sure. And oh yeah, here's the
No,
emojis, money
we don't
emojis.
have no.
Yeah,
We don't
yeah.
have time.
We have time. I got $25 because of you on that game right there. So I did win the personal bet at least. But that Ravens
It's
game.
just for you
Wow.
that didn't see the last video, it was I think under 44 and a half maybe for the Ravens Dolphins. I took the under and they scored 80.
the
80 points in
the
that game.
Dolphins almost had it covered by themselves. And that was
Oh,
almost
in the
just in the
fourth
fourth quarter.
quarter. Yeah. I think Tua had like 203 or 4 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. I don't know what the Ravens were doing. I'm just baffled at the whole thing.
Yeah.
I just don't know. Their pass defense is not to where I thought it was. I know they lost to DB Fuller after week 1, but still, just absolutely ugly. And speaking of ugly and comebacks, let me just give you stats because I like trends and stats, as you know. Last year, there were 61 games where a team won by 20 or more points. 0 times did a team come back from a 20-point deficit. 0 last year. Guess what? We had 2 in the span of 2 hours.
Yeah.
0 last year. One of them was that Ravens Dolphins we talked about. Tua went ballistics. Receivers were open. Baltimore forgot how to play pass defense, how to do anything. They forgot how to score. They just took their foot off the gas pedal. I mean,
Yep.
I don't know, unless you have something else to say why exactly
No.
that happened. Oh,
I
man.
feel like the coaching. Harbaugh's a great coach. I don't know what happened there. You kind of got to keep scoring. Yep, so you're up 21, but you got to put a little bit more up because, like in the video, I said all it takes is 1-2 plays and boom, it's a touchdown. Just like that with those guys.
Yeah.
You got both of them on both sides of the field. A busted
Yeah,
coverage and it's a touchdown.
especially Waddle and Tyreek, like you said. I mean,
Yeah.
Waddle was on my fantasy team. He had 40. Thank you, Waddle. Appreciate that. They both dominated. I mean, they are maybe the best 1-2 punch receiver in the league. I mean, they're legitimate.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, maybe I was sleeping on the Miami Dolphins a little bit, and they're for real. We're gonna find out, especially this week. They got another tough one. But yeah, that Dolphins Ravens game was crazy. So, also, Dolphins were down 21 in the fourth quarter, and they came back to win that game. It's their first time since 2010 since that's happened. Do you want to know what the record is for teams that are up by 21 or more in the fourth quarter?
It's like,
Before that Dolphins comeback? 0 and 711.
yep, I heard that. Yeah. So I was like, cool,
0
that's
and
the one I picked.
711.
And that's what happened? You're joking. This is ridiculous.
0. 0. Now it's 1 and 711 thanks to the Dolphins. So
Yeah.
good luck sleeping, Baltimore fans, Baltimore team. That was ugly. That could be a season changer, or maybe you can pick your head up off the mat and move on. We'll see. But the other game was the Cardinals Raiders. Any thoughts on that one?
Once again, what are the Raiders doing? You got to put teams away when you have a chance. If you have the chance to put them away, do it. If that's not the case, why pay Devontae Adams that much money? If you're going to pay him that much money and you win and he only gets 2 catches, sure, fine, whatever. You're paying him that much money, he got 2 catches and you lose? No,
Yeah.
you're up 20 something. You don't do that. You just don't.
I agree, and I didn't watch enough of the game afterwards or anything to really analyze just Devontae Adams, but Devontae had 2 catches, I think it was, for
Yeah.
12 yards or
Yep.
something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's Devontae Adams. When he was playing with Aaron Rodgers, he didn't have games like that.
Nope.
Okay, maybe someone will go back and find one, but I mean, it was rare. He's already 1 out of 2 he's done that with Derek Carr. So, Derek Carr's inconsistent to me. He doesn't make the big play. Kyler Murray was here we go about Kyler Murray. He was bad for like 3 quarters, okay? But now he's being seen as this hero, this unbelievable quarterback. And listen, he was unreal in that 4th quarter. He ran
Yeah.
all over the field looking for players, a 2-point conversion to tie the game at the end. I mean, everything. He did everything right. It was just another wild 4th quarter where they did nothing for 3, and then all of a sudden, there it is.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's an endurance thing or the defense couldn't hold up, or I don't know what it was. It was crazy.
There was the one play he's kept it alive for what 20 seconds, and I think he ran for
Oh yeah,
85 yards and still completed it or ran it in.
I
Like you have to be
I
tired
forgot
after
about
some
that
point
one.
in time, right?
Yeah,
Don't you think?
you would think, but the defenders get more tired than Kyler Murray though. So
Yeah, he's just
Ky-
waddling
Kyler
around.
saved, yeah, he saved the season a little bit. Kyler needs a haircut, by the way. Oh my goodness, that hair has got to go. But whatever. When you get a lot of money, a big contract, you can do what you want.
You can do
Um,
whatever you want. Yes.
one more comeback that might have been even more impressive than those two. It wasn't a 20-point comeback. It was the Jets over the Browns. I know, I'm sure everyone had the Jets over the Browns. Definitely. They
Yeah.
were down 13 with under 2 minutes to go. 13. And the Browns let up a deep pass for a quick score, which you can't do. You just can't
Nope.
do. I'm
Nope.
not saying to play prevent. We're not a prevent kind of guys when we talk about football, but you cannot get beat deep. You got to have 2 safeties back. You can't get confused whether it's man. You cannot let that happen. So they hit a deep pass, get an onside kick. I think the ball went off Amari Cooper's hands, just their best receiver, and then they score again. Like the Browns had no answer for the Jets offense. Joe Flacco for MVP. Should we talk about that?
No.
I mean, is there a quarterback controversy in New York?
I'm not saying no to that. I mean, Zach Wilson hasn't been impressive, and Joe Flacco, got a
If Joe
crazy
Flacco
W
goes out and has another great game, I mean, why would you put Zach Wilson in?
because he's your franchise. And is Joe Flacco really getting the playoffs, anyways, in the AFC?
Is Zach Wilson?
But he's at
Come
least your
on.
future. He's at least your future. So that's a different
Yeah,
situation than the Trey Lance and Jimmy
agree.
G,
Agree, but
where
it's a winning business. You want to win. And if they're, let's say, 2-2, 3-2, like why would you change that up? The team's gonna be like, let's stick with Flacco. Like, why change chemistry?
yeah, there's just no future with Flacco, and the team's not going to the playoffs anyways. Like if they were a good
Yeah,
team and had a chance to make it to the playoffs, then okay. But you got to see what you have with Zach Wilson, because if you do it this way, where you start Joe Flacco, then you waste another year of Zach Wilson, then you waste next year potentially of seeing if Zach Wilson's the guy. You're able to see if Zach Wilson's the guy this year if you start him. So
I
you have
agree.
to.
But with everything that's happened in the NFL, can we really say the Jets are not a playoff team? I don't know anymore. Like, we just don't know what's gonna happen. We have no clue. But you're probably right, especially AFC. That's brutal. I mean, that's just gonna be tough.
Yeah.
So yeah, 3 wild comebacks that were just record shattering. It was unreal. It was great football. If you got the Red Zone channel, you were in heaven. I hope you just planted on that couch and just, I mean, commercial free, and you're watching comeback after comeback. I didn't even care if some of it ran into the Seahawks game. We'll talk about that later. Holy cow.
Well, like I said, I wasn't even
Oh,
excited for the Seahawks game after what we
oh
just
my
saw,
gosh.
or the
Yeah.
Ravens and then my Giants and Panthers. Like I kind of was close on getting that pick. Like I was right there, just had the
Yeah.
wrong winner. Like
Yeah,
I
Ryan missed
predicted
out
the
on that.
game.
So that Ravens game was like a plus 280 bet that we just missed out on. He had the over and the Ravens money line, and that would have been a big bet. That would have changed everything. We'd be up for the year so far, but it happens. That's betting. That's football. So we move on, and we'll get better ones. But yeah, so those are the comebacks. Here, I want to kind of talk about a few things we've learned from the first couple weeks. It could be overreaction, could not be, but I just think there's a few good storylines in the NFL. Well, there always is, but how about the Eagles on Monday night? Ooh, doggy. I was talking to
Yeah.
some people and I was telling them they're going to take down the Vikings. This Eagles team, I'm telling you, this Eagles team is something to watch. And I would not be shocked if they made it to the Super Bowl.
No,
In
I
fact,
would not be
I
either.
just wrote an article today about how they're so how they're so dominant. It really starts in the trenches for me. I mean, they offensive line, defensive line. Howie Roseman's always preached to dominate the trenches, and they did. I mean, they had a good defensive line before, and they used their first pick in the first round pick, 13th overall, on a Jordan Davis on a defensive tackle. I mean, they still wanted more. And he's only playing a little bit right now, but he's still doing well when he is out there. I mean, that team, they can run the ball, they can pass the ball, they dominate the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. Their secondaries, I don't know if it's elite, but it's close. Darius Slay looked really good to me.
I think
And then you
I
got
think
Bradbury on the other side.
Kirk Cousins was trying to throw him the football, I swear, last night. Like he was Kirk
Yeah,
Cousins'
he
leading
was.
receiver. It
Yeah.
was
No,
crazy.
Kirk had the Eagles defense on his fantasy team, and he really, yeah, he needed something. That puts Kirk Cousins, by the way, at like 2-10 on Monday Night Football. And if you watched
That's
our last video, we talked about fade Kirk Cousins on primetime. That's why the Eagles were one of my best bets. It was the only video bet we actually hit on. And so I just think that was a domination. I don't know what you thought of that game, but it was crazy.
I mean, the Vikings still had a chance here and there because once again, coaching, the Eagles didn't quite put them away when they could have really had a chance. If a couple guys make a catch, the Vikings could be in that game. If Kirk Cousins doesn't throw it to Darius Slay in the goal line, we have a game. And then you don't want it close in the fourth quarter with time ticking down. It's a football game, weird bounces, interceptions, onside. It's no point to stress about it if you
Yeah,
can put it away. And the Eagles were
I
in that
agree.
place. They could have put it away early, more
I agree. I do think
better.
the Eagles took their foot off the gas pedal a little bit in that second half.
Hmm.
I think they trusted their defense and just tried not to make a mistake on offense. But if you look at total yards and everything, I mean, I know the game could have been close if Kirk didn't throw so many picks, but I mean, the Eagles dominated the game. If you just by the eye test, I mean, the
Oh
yardage
yeah,
was just out of this world at halftime. I don't even remember 200 something to like 90 or I don't know, it was something wild. And I just think the Eagles are a legitimate football team. We picked them to win the division. I don't know if I thought they were going to be this dominant. It's 2 games. They
right.
played the Vikings at home and the Lions, so I'm not going to just say they're the greatest of all time already. But definitely keep an eye on that. So, yeah. Do you have a storyline too? Anything
Yeah,
you've
I
learned
did.
from the first
And
couple
kind of
weeks?
goes in back with the Ravens and the Dolphins. Wide receivers, if you can get two or three dominant game changing wide receivers, I think it just makes life so much easier for either average quarterback or elite quarterbacks. Elite quarterbacks, you know, it's like Josh Allen throwing to Stephon Diggs
Yeah.
type of thing and Patrick Mahomes when he
Yeah.
had all the weapons. But if you put those weapons around it, your running game opens up, you get quicker, easier throws. Then the defense comes up, they fall asleep, busted coverage, and then you hit one big one. So I'm thinking that the NFL's changing to just if you don't hit on an elite quarterback, Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers type of guy, you can maybe make it work with two or three elite type of wide receivers. I mean, even the Vikings, the Philly defense was staring down Jefferson the entire time. So it got other guys open, and Irv Smith couldn't make a play here or there. But it's just crazy what these wide receivers are doing nowadays.
I agree. And to back you up on that, the Packers are struggling offensively for the Packers.
Hmm.
And why is that? They don't have a receiver. Nobody had more than 3
Exactly.
catches, and a couple of those people, even when they beat Chicago, which isn't that impressive, but even when they beat Chicago, they were throwing to running backs. I think maybe Sammy Watkins, some receiver had 3 catches. I mean, there's just nobody out there. And the Packers are going to win some games because you got Rodgers and a decent young defense, but there's just no possible way they can win a championship without any weapons on the outside. You just can't do it.
Mhm.
When you need big plays, I need someone to get open right now, and you
Yep.
can't do it. I just think it's huge. And any of other teams like the Eagles who got AJ Brown,
Yeah.
and other teams that have good receivers, that it does make a big difference.
The
To
Vikings were in
pile
that
on,
shell defense like the entire time because they were scared of the speed the entire time. So it was quick. It was just 1-2 steps slant and hit the window and 7 yards. When you're getting
yeah.
7 yards every single play, it makes life just so much easier.
You know what else makes life really, really easy? A good offensive line. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm telling you, I think that's what makes some quarterbacks look better, look worse. Ask Joe Burrow how he likes being sacked all the time, or Russell Wilson when he's complaining in Seattle. It
Oh,
it is huge. It is huge. It allows more time for your receivers to get open.
yep.
The quarterback can go through more than one read, you know, and not be like Kirk Cousins and stare down one guy and that's it. But I mean, you can go through reads, you can run the ball better, which also sets up the pass. I mean, the offensive line to me has always been just the absolute key. And there's so many rough offensive lines in the NFL right now. And you see it affecting offenses like the Steelers, teams like that. Like it just affects them. You can't do anything.
I think the coaching in the college, it's so spread out. Get it to the
Yeah,
dominant guy and let him do his thing, so it doesn't translate to NFL football. Well, when they get there, so it takes some time.
I agree. The spread offenses, and if it does take time, like you said, it might take a few years to get a guy. But by that time, the NFL teams and fans are just calling that person a bust already, and they're getting
Yep.
rid of them. So yeah, I think offensive lines are key right now. But another story I want to talk about: the Bucs and the Bills defenses. I mean, they're legit. I mean, the Buccaneers. They. I mean, we're talking about the Cowboys. Dak was there most of the game, that first game, and they just completely shut them out. They didn't
Yep.
score a touchdown, I don't believe. And then they play the Saints in New Orleans in the Superdome, where Tom Brady's 0-4. I talked about this the whole time. Saints +3, bank it. The Saints couldn't do anything.
No.
And it wasn't just because they didn't have Alvin Kamara. The Bucs can fly around, and they are a legitimate defense. I mean, Tom Brady has just been so their offense. He's throwing tablets, so his offense isn't doing that great. But I just think he's going to be. It's going to be Peyton Manning-esque, but Tom Brady's better than Peyton Manning's last season. But I think that defense could possibly carry them to a Super Bowl. I did not think they were that good on defense. I mean, I thought they were good defensively, just not elite like they've shown. So I think them and the Bills. I mean, that 41-7 beat down of the Titans. They just showed 2 weeks. They shut down the Rams week 1. They're good defenses.
Yeah, and the Bills defense could get better with White coming back, hopefully in a few games from the knee injury, right? So
Yeah. Isn't that crazy to
wow.
think? I know. It's wild. And then their offense is loaded. By the way, their offense didn't punt this year until their 16th drive, I think I read. Yeah, anyways, that's a whole. The Bills are just loaded. Super
Yeah.
Bowl pick. Yeah,
But
they're
hey, real
loaded.
quick, back to the Bucks.
Yeah.
Have they really played a really great offense? I mean, I don't know if I trust the Dallas Cowboy offense yet with the injuries at wide receiver and offensive line and the Saints and Jameis Winston. Like maybe their defense, it seems legit for sure. Like they haven't
You
gone
could be right.
anywhere, but did they play two bad offenses? Like that could be the
You could
reasoning.
be right. But Jameis has proved in this league he can throw for 5,000 yards. Yeah, we know he throws picks and all that, but and you're on the road. And you still got Olave, Jarvis Landry, Michael Thomas. I mean, there's weapons. There's a decent quarterback, and they just came out and played. And that Cowboys, we're gonna find out.
Yeah.
And so I mean, Dak's not gonna be back for a while, so we're not gonna know. But we'll see against elite teams. But you're right, you never know. The Bills played the Rams offense, which is pretty good last time I checked.
Oh, the
And
Bills, I
then
agree. That's
and they shut down the Titans, which are not a good pass offense, but they can run the ball. Obviously, Derrick Henry.
yeah.
Yeah. So that was another one of my takeaways. Just a quick tidbit. Do you know that the Lions are in the top 3 in points scored in the NFL?
That's with Jared Goff, the guy that everybody wrote off. He's
That
terrible. He's trash.
DeAndre Swift. Holy cow, that kid. That
Right.
offensive line is playing well. They just took it to the Commanders last week. And I mean, the Lions aren't far off from being 2-0. And
Right.
so they get a good start 1-1. I think that's just a team to watch, the Lions, especially in that NFC. So if they can just figure out how to stop people more consistently, they got a chance. So to our Seahawks real quick. What do we really say? Let's see. They haven't scored an offensive point in 6 quarters.
That's pretty bad. That's hard football to
Thoughts,
watch, and you're not going to
thoughts on
win
why?
much.
Yeah. Why
Thoughts
do
on
they
why?
suck?
Yeah. We kind of like I was talking about with the Ravens and coaching. You got to stick with your game plan. Yes, you get down, so okay, let's throw out the playbook. No more running the football. I don't like running the football every first down, second down. But if that's what you're gonna do, if that's your bread and butter, you got to stick with it somewhat. Even if you get down, you can come back. Like that's the thing. The teams don't put people away all the way, so stick with what you're gonna do. And nope, that's not the case. I think they ran the ball with Walker and Penny 10 times total for both of
Yeah,
them,
they
something like
abandoned
that.
it too early. I agree.
Yeah, like the Niners aren't gonna put up just ridiculous amount of points. Stick with it a little bit. See what you can do.
Yep.
Nope, Gino, let's have him throw every
I
play.
know. I know.
DK's already
I know.
hobbling around. He's holding his hand, not moving. He's touching his back. Like, so you're gonna throw every play?
It,
Good call,
I
Pete.
agree. I agree. They, you know what? They got nothing to lose at this point. They've, like I said, they've scored 0 offensive points in 6 quarters. The same as me and you have scored in 6 quarters. Something's got to change. We knew they're going to be bad. They got
Yeah.
an emotional lucky win, which is awesome. Beating Russ, that's all we really wanted. But they got a lot of work to do. So, also last story I had, Kenny Pickett. I think it's time. Yeah,
Yes. Yep.
and I know the offensive line sucks, and that's not helping anybody over there. Trubisky's completing, I think, a little under 60% of his passes right now. 2 touchdowns through 2 games and a pick. He's just kind of not accurate, managing the game, and their offense is just horrendous. I wouldn't wait too long, is what I'm saying, to get Kenny Pickett in there. Do you have any predictions on when they might actually bring him in?
I don't think it's going to go past week 4. When's their bye? I don't know their bye off
Yeah,
the
I'm
top
not
of my
sure.
head. I think that would play
Yeah,
a big factor into it. Do you know when that is? I don't.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure, but
So
that could be to give him an extra week, maybe set him up with a good opponent too. You don't
yeah,
want, if they play the Bills or something like that, you don't want him going in yet. But
because I
yeah,
think I heard that on some sort of national media was you don't want to bring him in against the Bills or the Bucs or the
yeah,
crazy defenses and
yeah,
just whatnot. But he's going to bring a fire and energy to that crowd, to that team.
yep.
That's just going to be
They just
unreal.
need some. They need it. They need some juice on offense. They need something. And I don't
Yeah,
think Kenny Pickett's going to go in and dominate because their offensive line is atrocious. I mean,
yeah.
but he can't be much worse right now. They're just not scoring at all.
No, they look
So,
bad on offense for sure.
yeah, yeah. So, yeah, those are kind of some of the takeaways. Listen, we're talking football, and this is awesome. This is what we love to do. This is why we're doing this podcast. And so, if you're still listening, this is obviously because you love football too. And so, leave comment about anything and all that. But if the video goes a little long, it's just because we love it. I mean, this is awesome. So, anything else you learned from week 2 or the first couple weeks or anything about coaching? I think you mentioned
Uh,
earlier.
mentioned the coaching. We mentioned the wide receivers. Bills are a darn good team.
By the way,
Um,
the coaching, just to reiterate that, Nathaniel Hackett is struggling. I mean, he is a struggle bus. We all know what they did on Monday night. And then if you didn't watch the game, they were about to go, it was 4th down,
yep,
and they were
yep.
struggling offensively. I mean, the crowd's booing their offense, booing the coach, booing Russ. I was
Mhm.
smiling. And I was just, and they couldn't decide if they wanted to go for it on 4th down or kick a field goal. He
Yep.
finally decided to kick a field goal. It was too late. It was a delay of game. They couldn't quite kick it in time. 5-yard penalty. Now they got a punt. And the boo birds were out in Denver. Let me tell you, it was ugly. And he just needs an assistant that helps him with time management or making decisions. He might want to go into a game thinking if it's 4th and 3 on their 35, I should know what I'm going to do already. Based on how the game's going.
I think because he got so much backlash on his decision not to go for it on 4th down with a minute or 50 seconds left, he was like, "Oh great, do I try and make Russ happy? I got to keep the Russ happy. I got to get the fans happy." He wanted to kick the field goal the entire time, but he's like, "I got to make sure my diva quarterback's happy." It bit him
Some
in the
point
butt.
he's gonna have to go for it on 4th and short because he has a quarterback
Yeah,
who's decent. I think in that game, it's a low scoring game against the Texans. You trust your D, maybe you kick a field goal, but either way, just make a decision one way or the other. And he's struggling, and I know an NFL head coach, that's not an easy job,
no,
but you got to be able to make those decisions. You got to know on 3rd down before the play happens. If we don't get it, what are we doing? Don't you think like that's the thought process on
that is.
the whole
Yeah,
staff? And maybe it's not just on the head coach. I don't know, but yeah,
yeah.
coaching has been very, very questionable. So, yeah, that's what we've learned. Now let's get into a fun little game here. Of is it time to panic?
Oh yeah.
I got 5 teams for you
Okay.
that are not doing well. You don't really know the teams. You can probably assume, but
Okay.
and you just tell me if you think it's time to panic or is it time to. It's okay. They're 0-2. And by the way, before you start, this is going to kind of answer all the questions for you. 0-2 teams. You want to stat? Because I got it. Always got it.
Oh, it's not good. That's for sure.
There have been
I
there have
know it.
been 400 teams that have started 0-2 since 1970. 400 teams since 1970 started 0-2. Guess how many of those 400 made the playoffs?
I'm gonna just random guess 7.
Wow, that's really low.
Oh,
38
darn.
of the 400 have made
Eh,
it. So that's
good for it.
9.5%. 9.5% of the teams that started 0-2 have made the playoffs. So if you're a fan of a team that's 0-2 right now, you have a 9.5% chance of making the playoffs. So you're saying there's a chance?
Yep.
Not really. Here we go. Team number 1.
Oh boy.
You saw it. You've heard about this team over and over and over. The Cincinnati Bengals.
Okay.
Is it time to panic?
Yes, for this season. Not in the long term, I don't think, because I think Joe Burrow is still a franchise quarterback. But I kind of said it in our AFC previews, like they lose 2 more games in that season, they don't even make the playoffs. So is their team really that great? Not quite yet. Obviously, there's offensive line still issues. Um, Defense isn't playing as well. So I think it's time to panic for this season. As far as for the future, I don't think so. I think for the future wise, you're good. That's going to be a tough division for a long time to come with Watson or Deshaun Watson and Steelers and the Ravens. So that's the hard part about it. But you still got Joe
Yeah.
Burrow. Do you get to
I
talk, or is it just me?
No, I want to talk.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I didn't do this podcast to just listen. So the Cincinnati Bengals, I agree with you. It's time to panic this year. It's not working out. I would be shocked if they turned this around and made the playoffs. Their O-line still isn't very good. I mean, we thought they were going to improve. They brought in some guys, and maybe it'll take time to gel. And if they do, they'll start getting on, catching on fire. But here's the reason: they're 0-2.
Yeah.
3 of their next 4 games are on the road.
Ouch.
And here are the next 4 opponents. You ready?
Well, I was just going to say, they're in the AFC, so that doesn't help. There's a
Yeah.
lot of good teams.
I know, and I may have the wrong order here, and I think I do. Or maybe I do. Anyways, it's the Jets, the Dolphins, the Ravens, and the Saints. I'm not saying those are world beater teams, but let's just say they beat the Jets. I mean, the Ravens, Saints, and Dolphins, with the way the Bengals are playing right now, they just lost to Cooper Rush. It wasn't even that close. Cooper
Right.
Rush and the Cowboys. They could easily go 1-3 in the next 4, especially with a lot of them being road games. If you're 1-3, let's do the math here. That is 1-5 to start your year. Done. I'm gonna guess that your 9.5% goes to 0 of making the playoffs.
1-5, yeah. What about 2-4? If they split the next 2, then me.
I think it depends on the Ravens. If the Ravens are going to struggle defensively like they did last week, and they kind of hang around 3-3 and they're 2-4, I mean, yeah, they got a chance.
Right.
But I didn't look at the rest of the schedule yet. But I do know the Bengals have like the second hardest schedule this season out of all the teams. So I don't think it gets any easier after that. So it's gonna be interesting, especially if they play Cleveland not till later in the season. Maybe Deshaun's back for one of the 2 games. So yeah, it's time to panic. Team number 2, the Carolina Panthers. 0-2. Matt Rule's already on the hot seat in Carolina.
Yeah.
Is it time to panic?
It's time to panic. That means you had some sort of expectations before going to the
There was
season.
some teams picking them to win a wild card spot. Yeah, they had some expectations.
Yeah.
And they brought in a guy, Mr. Baker.
I believed in Baker, and I don't know if I still do. Like, he can't win when he needs to. You got to beat the Giants. Like, come on. I still don't think they're a good team, but maybe the Giants are. As far as the Panthers, oh man, I think it's time to panic. Matt Rule especially should be time to panic. Like, oh my gosh, I got to figure this out, or I'm not a head coach in the NFL anymore. Same thing with Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield. Time to panic. Like, their careers are going to be journeyman backups if it doesn't turn around. Like the season turnaround. As far as the only good slight thing that they got going for them, they're in the NFC. That's the only hope, I think. But yeah, definitely time to panic for the season, and potentially this future. For like a future years, like what do they got? Like, is it Baker? Is it Sam Darnold?
I'll tell you one thing: they don't got a quarterback.
Exactly. So bad record, and then they get one of the stud quarterbacks from college, and still then there's no guarantees. So yes,
no, and you got to be real. Okay, your answer is yes. Okay.
Yep. Hit the button.
Ding, ding, ding! You are correct again.
Yes.
Matt Rule's in trouble. Their offensive line is still a work in progress. And I've been saying this for a while, and I don't understand some people that believe in him. Baker Mayfield is not a good quarterback. You can call him average. I
Okay.
will let you call him average, and that's it. He's not a great quarterback. He's predictable. He rolls to the right a lot. He doesn't see the whole field sometimes. He doesn't make the accurate and strong throw all the time. He's just not accurate. I mean, and not a good quarterback. He's just average at best. So they're 0-2. Their next 5 games: Saints, Cardinals, 49ers, Rams, Buccaneers. Owie.
Ugh, that's brutal.
Let's just say they beat the Cardinals, right? I mean, at best, out of those 5: Saints, Cardinals, 49ers, Rams, Bucks, at best, you're 2-3. At best, right?
Right. Yeah.
And so at 2-3, they're 2-5 at that point.
Yeah. Once again,
Say
not good.
goodnight. The
Yep.
party is over in Carolina. Time to panic.
Time to
Team number
panic.
3, the Las Vegas Raiders. Is it time to panic? It's time to panic just from your performance in the fourth quarter of last game. Just so you know.
Right. Like they had a good game. Once again, I mean, they were there, had the easy victory. It looked like it was time to panic for the Cardinals with how things were going. I would say no on this one. I don't think the Broncos are as good. I think the AFC West is going to kind of beat each other up. The Chiefs could pull away. So that kind of gets them a chance to sneak in. Derek Carr's definitely got to pick up his play and be more consistent. If he doesn't do that, then it's time to panic for him. The head coach is a brand new coach, so I think he's got some time. I would go not time to panic yet. They played a good first 3 quarters, and then Kyler was just special. He kind of made it work and did his thing. So they played the Chargers. That's a tough game, and then kind of got not unlucky, but you got to put the game away. So no, not time to panic.
Oh, I'm on the fence on this one.
No, you can't
I
pick the
just
fence. You got to pick one way or
listen.
the other.
They're not finishing in the top 2 in the division. Okay,
Okay.
so they're shooting for like the last wild card spot, pretty much, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of the last 2 spots, and I just don't know. New coach, the inconsistency of Carr. I don't know. They did play the Chargers tough in their game,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
um, but I just don't know if they have it. But I'm not. It's not time to panic yet because they have shown that they can do it, and so I think they have a shot. I don't know their next games. I didn't look that up, but I do think they have a chance to turn this around. They could easily be 2-0 right now,
Mm-hmm.
to be honest. So I don't think it's quite time to panic. No, I talked myself into it. Here's another team. I don't want to talk about them because I actually picked them to win the division and as a very long shot to go to the Super Bowl. But listen, I was just shooting for the odds there. The Indianapolis Colts freaking stink. I mean, they stink in every aspect.
Ooh,
They're bad. Did they just, what was it, 20-0?
that
They
was
just lost
yeah.
to the Jags.
And I didn't think they're a good team, or they weren't gonna be a good team. And if you're asking me the question, yes, time to panic. Like, wow, you got Matt Ryan so that you can do something, get to the playoffs, make a run. You got Jonathan Taylor, and you're gonna do this.
Oh,
You can't
yeah.
do this. Like that was a really bad performance. This is
That was an understatement. Yeah.
this is kind of why I picked the Tennessee Titans kind of back in our AFC preview videos. Like, I don't think the Colts are that great yet where everybody's kind of putting them up there.
The Titans look good too. Yeah.
But no, the Titans haven't looked good either. So
Listen, that
I'm
division
not.
is a crapshoot.
Man, the Houston Texans, they're playing tough.
Jags.
Right?
How about
So,
the Jags? They're playing. So you're saying it's time to panic in Indy?
yeah, sorry, kind of got sidetracked there. I was kind of thrown off. But yes, time to panic for the Colts. They just 0? You scored 0? I know it's just 2 weeks, but wow, I don't think they don't have really great weapons on the outside, kind of like I was talking about
Well,
earlier.
they do have one. Michael Pittman was
One's
a beast in week 1. He did not play in week 2. He was out.
one's
So
not
like
enough,
that
I
kind
don't
of
think.
that goes with what you said. They lost their number 1 target who had a ton of catches in week 1 to injury. And look what they do on offense. They score 0 points.
Yeah,
I'm
it
not saying
just
it's
makes
all
it too
because of
hard.
Pittman, but it makes a big difference. The Colts offensive line I thought was going to be top 3 in the league like they were last year, and they're not that great either. The pass rush is awful. I mean, they had, let's see, I think they had 0 sacks last game
Ugh.
and maybe 3 at the end of the game in week 1. I mean, they're getting no pass rush. Matt Ryan's looking a little old. We knew he was old, but we thought, and their running game with Jonathan Taylor didn't get going until it was too late against the Jags. I know because I have him in fantasy. He's freaking killing me. And they're just bad all around. They're just a bad team right now. And not to say they can't turn around. I think they have a great head coach, but I don't know, man. I don't know. So time to panic in Indy.
So we
It's
agree
time
on
to
that one?
panic. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
It's time to panic a lot of places. I didn't put the Seahawks on there because, I mean, it was time to panic before the season started. So
Once again,
we're not very
expectation
good.
level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. There's expectations in Vegas, in Indianapolis, in
Mhm.
Carolina, and in Cincy. So, and that Cincy thing, by the way, Super Bowl hangover. We'll talk about it every week. It's real. Last team is actually 1-1, not 0-2. The Denver Broncos. And we can be quick on this one. We talked about him a little bit. Coach is a mess. The quarterback's trying to just hit deep passes again, holds the ball forever, like we've seen a million years in Seattle. He's a good quarterback. I'm not bashing him because he left. He won us a Super Bowl. I got respect for him as a player. But I just think they're struggling. Jerry Jeudy went down with an injury. I don't know how serious it is, but he was 14 of 31. 14 of 31 for a quarterback against the Texans that you paid 250 mil.
That's pretty bad.
And they have him until he's almost 40. Have fun. What do you think?
Yeah.
Time to
No,
panic?
that's exactly why I didn't want to keep him as a Seahawks fan. Like, just
Yep.
didn't see it. Time to panic. I don't want to be like you and be on a fence on a team. Ah, man.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, yeah. I would say time to panic for different reasons. Can they still make the playoffs this year? Yes. But their quarterback isn't maybe what they thought they were gonna get, and you paid them the money. You can't get off that. You're stuck in it for so long. Like you were saying, I'm glad he did what he did in Seattle for us. Got a Super Bowl. Good quarterback, but did he peak early and now he's on the decline? And if that's the case, you just paid him a lot of money. So future maybe time to panic. Season not so much. I think they can still
Interesting.
be a decent team. Have a chance at the playoffs. Once again, the AFC West is going to beat each other up. So no, not for this season. The coach has got to figure it out though. He's got to figure out what he's doing as first time management.
Yeah.
Like,
you know what I think he should do?
I don't know.
He should play Madden and just kind of get in some late game situations where he has to make a decision and just see what happens. Maybe do true clock and just get that clock running quick. So he's like, oh, I got to make a decision quick. I could just see him sitting in his living room playing Madden, delay a game, offense. Anyways, no, I agree with you. I think Denver has a chance, and Russ is going to have some good games. He's not completely done, but he is definitely on the decline. And there's experts out there, people close to the game that actually believe he is on the decline, and we've seen it for a while. So good luck, Denver. I know we have Geno, but Geno's cheap, so we're good. We'll get a new young guy. Anyways, that's it. Those are the time to panic. We may or may not have missed a team or two, but those are the big teams I want to talk about. Week 2. It's almost time. Or week 3. It's almost time for week 3 already.
I do want to talk about Trey Lance and Jimmy G and the 49ers. I don't know if we have time for that.
The Seahawks saved their season? Is that what you're going to say?
Go for it. Yeah, like that was a huge, interesting storyline for like the whole preseason. And then everyone's like, when's Jimmy G gonna start? Do you start Jimmy G? There's a lot of people know you don't start Jimmy G. You believe in Trey Lance. As a running quarterback, there's always a chance you can get hurt. And it's broken.
Heart's been hurt, yep.
Fibula and ligament damage. That's terrible. I feel bad for the dude. But man, did they luck out to keep Jimmy G in that building, and now they have, I think, a better chance to go deeper into the playoffs. Maybe not like great for their future, but for this season and what that team is like, huge. Plus, Jimmy G is gonna get paid now because he had so many incentives in his contract. It was like start this many games.
That's right.
Oh, he just made bank. Like he started for all the season, unless he gets hurt. But Whew.
No, you're completely right. I forgot about the contract thing. They are lucky to keep Jimmy G.
Oh
This
yeah.
I agree completely. When he went down and Jimmy G came in, they scored a touchdown on the first drive. I think it is. I'm
Mhm.
not a Trey Lance believer. At least right now in his career, there's just no way he's ready.
Yeah.
And I always thought Jimmy G was a better quarterback. I think we had this discussion on Twitter, actually, if you follow us on Twitter, but with some people. And so I think when he went down, I mean, first you feel bad for the guy. He's a young kid,
Oh
and that
yeah.
was a terrible injury, and that's someone's career and livelihood. Once you get past that and you just look at the game, I mean, we helped them. Jimmy G is by far their better chance to win this season. It's not even close to me,
Yeah.
and I'm not even a Jimmy G lover. I mean, I don't think he's that great, but he's better than Trey Lance. He's led them to Super Bowl before. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah. Super Bowl, NFC Championship game, and you're out the window.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
not quite
You
yet.
got a guy who's calm, cool, and collected, and he'll be there. So you're right. Thanks for pointing that out.
Yeah.
So yeah, week 3. Here we come. It's going quick. We're gonna drop our week 3 video Friday, I believe. Right?
I
We're
think
gonna
so.
do that
Yep. Should
Friday.
should be out Friday.
We're gonna do best bets. I might do a little Instagram and Twitter for some best bets on the Thursday game. Listen, if you're betting that Thursday game, just bet it and don't watch. Maybe it is the Steelers and Browns. Good luck with that one. I mean, it is the classic matchup of Mitchell Trubisky versus Jacoby Brissett. I mean, it is ugly, and it's gonna be ugly. And I think Myles Garrett's even questionable. TJ Watt's still out. There's just not a lot of star power. But anyways, I'll be dropping some bets on that, and then Friday we'll get a video out, and we'll get some best bets for week 3. So here we go. But a few big games, just real quick. We don't have to touch on it too long. Bills are playing at Miami. Again,
That's
Miami gets another test. Bills are 5.5-point favorites. I mean, we're gonna find out quick. Are the Dolphins for real?
yeah.
Are they gonna have a letdown? I lean Bills, but I haven't done much research into it. I think the Bills are a well-oiled machine right now. So, what
The
about you?
Dolphins didn't look great at the beginning of the Ravens game. Looked like that was a cinch, and then you blinked and touchdown, and they're in it.
Yep, yep, I agree. They just had a huge quarter. So we'll find out. Another one, Raiders Titans. I know, not a big game. Why are you mentioning it? Here's why I'm mentioning it.
Mm-hmm.
I like numbers, by the way. The loser of that game goes to 0-3.
Oh, then it's
I
over.
believe, right?
Yeah.
Right? They're both
Yep.
0-2? Yeah. I know the
Yep.
Raiders are. Loser goes to 0-3. Only 6 out of 182 NFL teams have made the playoffs after starting 0-3.
Yeah.
That's 3.2% of teams. The Raiders and Titans are playing a playoff game in week 3. The loser goes home. Okay, listen, they got to keep playing to get the paychecks, but they're done. So that's a big game for both those teams and fan bases, I think. The only other big game is, I mean, it's huge. Do you have something to say, Raiders
Yeah,
Titans, or
I think that game's bigger for the Raiders because if the Tennessee Titans go 0-3, that division's so bad, they might have a chance to still be kicking if they're 0-3. Raiders go 0-3. Sorry, Raider Nation, it's over.
you're toast? You're right. The Titans could go 0-3, win their next game, go 1-3, and be tied for first at 1-3
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
easily.
Yep.
Yeah, the Jags are what, 1-1.
Mm-hmm.
Colts are 0-2, and
Houston
Texans are
Texans
0-2, right?
0-2. Yeah.
Yeah. Whew, baby, you are right. Okay, so maybe not panic time in Tennessee yet. But again, that Tennessee team's a team that has no receivers. Back to your topic. They got no receivers. Treylon Burks is a good rookie. He's not ready to just take over the league yet.
Yep.
They had Robert Woods. He's coming back from injury. He's, nothing special right now. So they're struggling. Last big game we want to talk about, and then we'll get out of here. Packers and Bucs. I just don't understand this early line right now. I'm seeing Bucs minus 2.5, and they're at home, I believe the Buccaneers are.
Wow.
So if they're at home, only 2.5-point favorites, that's saying on a neutral field that they're like even teams. So maybe Green Bay is getting a lot more respect than we think they should. But the Bucs should be favored by more than that. The Packers are not that great this year. I really don't think they are. And so I definitely lean towards the Bucs. The only problem with the Bucs is, and I think the spread is low because the Bucs no Godwin, maybe no Godwin again, maybe no Julio again, and Mike Evans is suspended again. That was quite the brawl too, by the way. Way to protect Grandpa Goat. Way to protect Grandpa Goat, Mike Evans. Anyways,
Yeah.
so that could be, but it's still Tom Brady. It's still one of the best defenses in the league in Tampa Bay. I could see Green Bay. So another bet I'm leaning, and I love team totals. I haven't put any out there yet, but I like so far. It's not an official bet yet. The Packers team total under 20. I don't see
Oh,
the Packers getting over 20. I mean, they scored what 7 on Minnesota. They
yeah.
didn't look that great. They scored 27 and didn't look that great against Chicago. That's Chicago. I mean, that's like bottom of the barrel, and this is top of the barrel on defense. So I just think, yeah, I lean Bucs on that one. So I don't know what you think about that game, but
It's gonna be a tough one with those injuries at wide receiver and Mike Evans being suspended. Just
maybe an under in
no
the whole game.
offensive
Maybe
line.
both teams. Yeah.
Yeah, there's just not much star power on the outside, so it could be kind of boring to watch. A lot of running the football, playing defense, old school football for some fans if you like old school,
Yep.
but that's not the way the league's going.
Not
So
at all. Not at
yeah,
all. But yeah, there's not a ton of great matchups in week 3. I don't think that I've looked at. I mean, there's some decent matchups, just no elite teams. Those are kind of the big ones: Bills, Dolphins, and Packers, Bucs. So, but yeah, we probably missed some stories because there's stories everywhere. But that's the week 2 recap. We're gonna hit you with another video on Friday again. Keep an eye out on Instagram. Go follow us. We'll give out some bets for that Thursday night game. We'll try to find something. It'll probably be unders on everything because that's what it might be. It might turn out to be. And then we're on Twitter also. So again, we went 5-1 on the Twitter and Instagram picks for week 2, and 1-5 in the video. So we 6-6. But you got to follow us everywhere. So we'll turn this around. We're kind of flirting right around even so far after 2 weeks, which isn't too bad. We'll get the hang of this. So, anyways, anything else, Ryan? We good
I
to
think
go?
that's it. Good to go. Yeah.
All right, make sure to go follow us also on Spotify, Amazon Podcast, and Apple Podcasts. We're up and going there. So throw us in your ear, go do some dishes, mow the lawn, whatever. Yeah, that's it. Another episode. Thanks for listening to Just a Bet Outside, and we'll see you next week or on Friday. Actually, we'll see you then.